I'm letting you lead the tech, and then once it gets produced, I'll be able to know. How many people here are visual? I need to be shown so I can visually see, and then I get the ideas of how I would like to proceed forward. I don't have a lot of visualization. I'm like working on it. I worked for 20 years in an emergency room and developed what's called chronic PTSD. And I led a very crazy life for a while. And so I'm finally getting back into the groove of being calmer and being able to visualize and being able to have like ideas drop in and then carry it out. But right now, I'm asking Austin, just, hey, can you help me out a little bit and hold the structure for me while I get this back online?
That was a great intro to our From the Ethereal to the Material podcast. And then back and forth, right? So like we're here in this human body experience, and there's the ethereal, right? And then there's like groundedness, like being grounded with yourself, being grounded with others, being grounded with the earth. Let's see. Did you want to draw a card as we enter into this one? Or
no, I'll do it when, yeah,
okay.
That would feel good.
Great. And that's the other thing too, is ethereal to the material. I had a thought, hey, do you want to do a card? And she's, no, I'm good. Okay, and that's the conversation, that's the interaction between us, which the whole point of Couples Take On was to talk about integration, and would talk about like just bringing things together, bringing things full circle. Here we're in the new moon, so it's the release-receive cycle. What do you really want right now? Okay, cool, you're still here. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, from the ethereal to the material. Sometimes we get a little distracted, but so what we've noticed, like Shelley, thank you for the follow, Zeal. Thank you for being with us. I have moments where I lose my track of thought too, but Shelley has the late diagnosis ADD. Like what, you were like 47 or 46 or something?
Yeah.
And what I noticed is I used to be a teacher, and so there were a lot of kids who needed some help with that process. And what I've noticed is all those techniques I learned with my students, I've helped them with Shelley, like trying to get the things from the ethereal. Like she has all these ideas, and I can tell she wants to talk in 2 seconds, but I'm almost done. And like just apply just enough structure, like the masculine structure, so she can flow through with her creativity and not feel trapped. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say is that one of my shadows that I am really working through is deep subconscious programming of hyper independence of women. And a lot of times it can be traced back, honestly, to the feminist movement in the 20s. It fell under the patriarchy and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I won't dive too deep into that right now. But what I noticed is just that there are times I am resistant to any kind of change. And it's almost, I feel my mother come out in the sense of, no, we're not doing it that way, or no, I'm not. And I recognize this because I don't feel comfortable. And I also recognize that it's other people's stories of don't trust a person if you don't feel comfortable, or you need to have the final say as a woman in charge. That's the other thing.
Remember, like safety, feeling safe could be all kinds of things. Safe to express your ideas, physically safe, mentally safe to say I love you to someone, any of that. Connection is the next step. Like that moment we shared a few minutes ago, I'm like, hey babe, do you want to do another card? No, I'm good. Oh, okay. And then we move forward. But a few years ago, that could start a massive fight, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay. And then the fulfillment part is this luxury space where we can come on here and talk to you about the things that we've been doing as we integrate, just like the card that was just pulled, and bring it all together. So it's like the integration is taking the ethereal and the material and like putting it all together and what makes sense. And now we're looking at the moon cycles. You know, the full moon, release the things that you don't need or no longer serve you, and then receive whatever you're trying to do or manifest. Or
wait, what did you say? You said the full moon is release, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you said the opposite because you have in the past. Okay.
No, I think, thanks for checking. So
I was in the ethereal, so I was like way over here and not like
totally
present
listening
in that very moment. I don't know. Does anybody else have that where you're like here when the speaker's speaking because you're like trying to put it together, and then all of a sudden they're like 10 steps ahead and you're like, wait, what?
Like that's the whole point of bridging the gap. Or you'll be online in a coaching space or something, and they're like, oh yeah, this pie in the sky thing, and here's my results. And it's, wait, how did you get from there over to here? That's the integration part. That's building the bricks, building the pathway, building the structure to get over there. And Zeal was saying, yeah, we all can get sidetracked.
Yes, and so that's why in the business that we've created and the community that we've created, I've had a lot of these ideas, but because I have to be careful how I phrase this, because I'm being very cognizant and being very aware of the words I use, because they really do reprogram you. But I'm being very aware of my level of comfortableness with technology. And there are times that I'm not comfortable and I feel like I'm going to maybe mess things up, or I have in the past. There's just like weird little nuggets of stuff. And so that's where I've really appreciated having the structure between Austin and I to provide that structure for me, because he doesn't have those same fears and anxieties as what I have. Because that's ultimately what that is. It's a fear and an anxiety, and it's not really true, but it's something that I'm working on and working through.
And it's great if you can support your friends or your partner or your family or partners or whatever. But at some point, it'd be really nice if they could feel safe in themselves and help themselves feel safe and comfortable with all their ideas. And that's part of bringing the ethereal to the material, of learning the techniques that work well for you. And what do you need to release? Like, whose stories were those? What stories are yours, and what do you want to keep? And what's your life's work, and what do you want to do? You know? That's awesome. So Zeal says, I'm great with it.
Nice. Oh, see, that's super amazing. That is a skill you could potentially go and help people with, because there are people who are not. And you might not even recognize it, except for you might see subtle cues. Right. You're probably going to see it more in the older generations. But it's honestly, I get when they say, when you start using it at such a young age, it gets developed within your subconscious, within your cells, like all of that. Exactly, tech.
Well, it's like almost like an extension.
Tech.
It's almost like an extension of yourself. And it's like, I got some Post-it notes right here with this little kitty, right? This Post-it note is tech. Like, I can literally write it down to extend my brain capacity to do something later. Mm-hmm. Which you could just as easily put it on your phone too, but sometimes that stuff gets lost in the abyss. They say, put it up in the cloud. That's the ethereal, man. Like, how do you get that down to you? And Post-it notes, like some cards.
And so one of the other things I've needed Austin's help with a lot is I worked as an emergency room nurse. And so we were used to basically yelling out orders and yelling out the shit we needed. And I can't really go about doing that in my everyday life. I would love it. I'd love to manifest a little personal assistant, like, hey, I need da-da-da-da-da. What's funny is that's what I'm doing now in an office, except for I'm the personal assistant. So, like I said, I'm working through a whole bunch of stuff, and it feels really great. And it also just, this is like kind of the changes that people go through, because you never know like what they maybe had done previously in their life or their career or whatever. And then I've always wondered with people like why they haven't been able to transition to do things, and now I'm like, oh, now that
that's what this is all about.
Yes, now I'm like, oh, I understand it all. Like, you might have these great ideas, and then you need to bring them down and provide the structure. But then also in providing the structure, you might have things come up in that nervous system where you're scared shitless. You have that anxiety, you have the nervousness, and then that kind of, we don't want to have you go haywire there. That's where you can bring yourself back into the alignment that you need, because it's somebody else's story. I'm not saying it's not a true story, but where did you learn this? When did you first feel it in your body? How can we start to get you to process through that, to receive the information on how to use the technology to move forward? Because think about all the people that are like, nope, I'm too old for that. Nope, we're not going to touch that. That's a young person's game. It's like when you say those things, you're now programming yourself that you're not good enough to keep learning and moving forward.
Oh, okay. So Zeal, this is so interesting, Zeal. Literally, Shelley had paper everywhere. I'm like, just put it online. Never could find it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like pulling my hair out. And I'm like, she comes to me the other day. We have a stack of 50 blank notebooks, right?
True story.
And she's, what if I just write everything, and every month I have one journal and I write it all in the same place? And like, for me, I'm like so fucking excited, because I don't want to be like, I don't want to drive her away. And I'm like, oh, that might be something cool to try. Maybe you could integrate a journal notebook into your daily life.
And I had 5 and I'm like, this is ridiculous. My backpack was like full of just like journals and I wasn't even writing. So then it was intimidating and not even writing in the journal. So then you're just continually adding on a problem instead of integrating it and creating it to your specification.
What's the actual issue here? Is it the tech?
Right.
Is it like too many journals? It's really just too much chaos.
Yes.
That's too much chaos in the ethereal, all these projects and all these ideas, and it's okay, Shelley, can we bring a couple of them down and to materialize them? And what would that look like? How would you feel safe? How much structure are you willing to have to do that? And so, the journal has been a great start. Like, hey, what are you doing in the morning? What are you doing tomorrow? And it's like manifesting your day. Like literally, it's write the intentions of what you're gonna do, and give yourself the grace if you don't do it, and you're just like, oh, I'll do it later, right? But being intentional with it. So sometimes Shelley would wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning because she's starting that perimenopausal time of her life, and so she wakes up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, well, just do stuff. Like, and if you're tired, go back to bed. No big deal,
I'm working through some stuff with that.
Yeah, that's for another podcast.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. When you work split shifts for 18 years and have weird sleep trauma and a whole
energy drinks.
There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And I didn't realize weather really affects me.
I think the moon affects you too.
The moon and the weather, and right now in our part of the world it's rainy and it's cold, and
we're in California.
Yeah, so we're just working
what's really interesting too is Shelley was a studio artist before she became a nurse. She did that for 20 years. And then I worked in chemistry and engineering for a long time. And then now here we are like talking about like the moon cycle and the energy with the moon and the planets and being in tune with the weather and the seasons. And what's been interesting is as we have those science backgrounds too, some of the quantum stuff like starts making a little more sense, right? And let's see, I just have 90 of myselfs. What do you mean, Zeal? You got 90 notebooks? Is that what you mean? Okay, so just a recap from the ethereal to the material. If we're talking about energetics, the divine feminine is chaos. It's creativity and chaos. And I don't mean chaos in a bad way. I just mean it represents all possibilities. And then it's, well, okay, great. Now, can you add your own structure so you can flow? Or do you need added physical structure, or masculine structure, so you can flow through? So sometimes I help Shelley provide that by giving her some systems or a journal or write your notes, or at the end of the night when she's trying to run away, her little Capricorn rabbit self, as Hazy Moss calls it. I'm like, hey, you get back here. Here. You put down what you're going to be doing at 3 a.m. when you wake up, right? And so this has been an adjustment period, because 3-4 years ago, if I said that to her, it'd be a fight for a month. You know what I'm saying? But now it's, yeah, you're right. I should probably write this down. Yeah, you probably should. And then the next morning, she's, look at all the stuff I got done. And it's not just checking a box shit, because sometimes there's check a box stuff. It's actually inspired action to aligned action, and getting aligned actions done, because that's what moves the needle in your business. That moves the needle in your life. And it's people say, what moves the needle? And it's more than just your business. It's your mental health, your physical health, where are you
I think
at?
it also keeps you out of that triangle trap. And the triangle trap is basically the victim, the villain, and the victor. And you don't want to be in that trap. You want to be out of it. You're none of those things. You're sovereign. And that's been one of the things I've been really working through, is creating the sovereign and creating myself to be in the now as much as I can. Because I dwelled so much in the past that a lot of that programming and stories, I am working diligently. That's not really the truth.
So, Zeal, I have a lot of notebooks too. Right now, I go with what works. And what works changes sometimes. Yeah. And what's working right now is we got these big poster boards. And you can cut out your Post-it notes and put them in. What I've been doing here is putting early morning, anything before 9 a.m. here, because that's Shelley time. And then 9 to noon to dinner time, and then after dinner. And we've been putting stuff here. I think you put all the ones we wrote on away.
Yeah.
But then on the back side, it's all blank. And so you could do your brainstorming. We've been planning out our content, like when we're gonna. So we're new to Twitch. We've watched some Twitch DJs and stuff like that, and we have some friends that are in here. And now we're like, we want to show up and show everyone like what we've been doing with like real-time integration. I'm showing people how to do AI so they can organize their ebooks and all this stuff. And so like we're trying to help people bring the ethereal down to something tangible. And you can do that with inspired action, aligned action, and then also reviewing your process. Like what's going well, what's going not so well, and what do you want to try next time? And that, if you can just do what's going well for you in your life or your business or with your boo or whatever, what's going not so well, and be honest. And then what do you want to try? And just pick one thing. You don't have to pick everything. Just pick something and be like, okay, the next 3 days I'm going to give it a good shot. Right?
Yeah.
This is going to circle back to the IRL stuff. You ready?
Yes.
Shelley, what's been going well for you in the last month or two?
I did 2 in real life events, and they were for like sober curious or non-alcoholic options for people to go have fun.
What were they?
They were an ecstatic dance and a yoga sound bath retreat.
In Lodi, California.
Yeah, over here where we live, and it went great.
We're doing another one in March, so keep your eye out.
We're working on like doing the debrief with all of the team members, so then we can have a very well-rounded picture of how it went. But we've done our own and then together evaluation, and it was good.
So the reason we bring up IRL events is Shelley was like, I'm tired of being in the house and doing all this entrepreneur stuff and online all the time. And what she realizes when she comes out and goes to IRL events, she just feels better. And also when she was promoting those IRL events, she did it online. And she also, it looks like our connection's having a little trouble.
Oh.
Okay, good. We're back. IRL's going well. Also, Shelley does really well talking to people and networking and everything. So that's going really well.
And I have to be aware of my energy levels with people, because I realize that in fact, I'm fading a little bit now, but when I start to fade, my little monkey brain comes in, my little like old primitive thing, and that starts to take away my energy. And then I'm no longer in my body. I'm no longer embodied. So that's like that old version of myself that I'm working.
So you're saying that right now. So we've filmed 2 episodes. Yeah. We've been on Twitch for almost an hour.
See, we've noticed with myself that my energy starts to fade about 40 to 50 minutes when I'm with people. And so I've been really consciously like working on my energy levels, because it's a real thing. And I'm planning on doing artwork and stuff on Twitch so people can see. But I think in that case, it'll be a lot more, I'm going to listen to music that I jam to. I'll be dancing. I'll be like in a creative flow. And it's...
Okay, so let's break it down. Just real simple 3 things. What's going well for you? Just one sentence.
Right now? The IRL events.
IRL events, great.
See, I got distracted.
What's going not so well?
Right now? Oh, just being aware of my energy levels.
Yeah, so her energy's going down a little bit. In human design, she's a sacral generator. So maybe we need to like hit pause and take a break, right? We'll wrap up this one. We'll probably hit pause on Twitch, and we'll go take a quick break and come back.
Yeah, I like that, because I also feel hungry.
Oh,
I think that. So the other thing we've realized...
That's our 4th podcast. We're going to talk about food. Okay, so... What went well, IRL. What's not going so well is Shelley needs a quick break. And what are you going to try? You're going to try to take a break. And what's the one thing you're going to keep doing in the next week or so? More IRL stuff.
More IRL stuff, but then also like when I have that intuitive nudge that I need to take a break, to allow myself the break.
And communicate with me, hey babe, I need a break. Oh, okay, cool. Because if she's like scrolling on her phone, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we got work to do.
Right, that's the old version. That was my escape. That was my disassociation for a long time.
That's another podcast. Disassociation from CPTSD.
Yes.
You should write that down real quick. You have a pen?
No, I didn't.
No pen. Okay.
See, I'm not prepared. I just was like, let's go. I'm ready. And then, this is usual.
And what are you going to try? just advocating, right?
Advocating for myself.
That's the thing too. Sometimes when she's hungry and she's, hey, I'm hungry, or I say I'm hungry, and she's, oh yeah, we've been working a while. We should probably go eat. Yeah. And it's like those quick check-ins with each other. That's like the one thing we've been really trying to do is communicate with each other what we're feeling at the time, and then that way we can make a plan. Because if Shelley says, I need to take a 5-minute nap, I'm like, cool, and I'll go work on something else. Yep. But if I'm like standing around getting mad, like tapping my foot like Sonic the Hedgehog, that causes problems. So ethereal to the material. Sometimes you got to go a little material to the ethereal. You got to get in your body. Sometimes you need to get out of your body. And sometimes it's like finding balance, right? Yes. The one thing is find balance, communicate, eat, talk, all that. I'm going to put up the be right back. Okay. We'll be gone for 10 minutes and then we'll come back online. Okay. Thank you. You can take a break too. Give yourself a break. Nice. Yep. They're going to take a break too. Perfect. Let me see if this works. Be right back. Yeah. Okay.